Hi everyone, my name is Jenna and I like to turn your scribbles into monsters, so let's get it going. Alright, this week's scribble is from Ebony Amos, and looking at the scribble I actually think that it is Ebony's signature. It does look like it, and if that's the case, that's really cool. I think that's really cool. You might notice that I am in a different program. I've decided to start using Adobe Fresco. I usually use Procreate, but I've been watching a lot of Chris, is it Piasek? Chris Piasek? I think that's how you say his last name. And he uses Adobe Fresco. So it looked really cool and I wanted to give it a go. There are some benefits to using it, and there are some things that I do miss about Procreate. So if things are a little slower this time, it's because I'm still getting used to the interface and how everything works. So I've inserted the image here, and what I'm going to do first is take the opacity right down, and then I'm going to draw over the image, well, the scribble, just to get a feel for it. Look, there's a little whoop bit here, which is quite cool. And there's a little dot. Cool. And then I'm going to turn off this layer, and I might just make this a little bit bigger so we can kind of see what we're working with here. Now, straight away, I think I'm going to change my pencil to a pencil just so it's a little bit more free-flowing. And I might take this down again because that's kind of our base, and go over it. What I'm seeing to start with is spikes, like a spiky monster, and maybe this part here almost looks like a tail, and then these parts kind of form some spikes, maybe like this. Maybe that is a tail that comes around. That's quite cool. And maybe then it's got like a, if that's a tail, maybe, oh, I drew a bum on the last one. Maybe it has like some crazy looking legs. Maybe like super long legs. Maybe like that. And then the other one can come down as well. Or it could even have like maybe more like spindly legs, kind of like some sort of weird bug or something. Like maybe that comes out like that, and then there's another leg that comes down. This kind of actually looks more like a little antenna on like the top of a head. Maybe I've got this all wrong. Maybe that's not the back. Maybe that's the front. And this is the back. Do you know what it reminds me of? Is actually kind of reminds me of a weird shark or fish or something. So maybe we'll just add this random fish tail. I still think the legs are cool. And maybe it has more legs here as well. Like it could like swim, but also be able to like walk on the bottom of the sea. I think that would be cool. This, I think that was supposed to be the leg, but I actually think it would be cooler as two big eyes. Maybe they come out of his head like this. They're real bulgy. More like that. So if he's at the bottom of the ocean, I guess, you know, he'd need to like have really big eyes. Because it's dark down there, I like to let as much light in as possible. And I guess his body it feels really like, I think it's the signature, but it does feel kind of, you know, flowy, like that kind of fish idea. It looks like he's sitting on pants because of those legs I drew before. And I guess if he's at the bottom of the ocean, maybe he also has like a tongue that comes out to sort of scrape the bottom of the ocean for food. Something like that, maybe. I feel like it's just falling out of nowhere, so we'll add like that. Well, that looks insane. Alright, I actually might flip him around since we've got this tail coming down. So maybe he's more over here. Yeah. And actually it could be over this side a little bit. And maybe the tail can come round, like somehow, you know, and it's this big, beautiful, almost like a peacock tail or something. I might actually have to look up a reference, like a fish tail reference, but excuse me, for now I'm gonna turn that off. We'll create another layer and I'll put the opacity of this one right down, and I'm gonna change this to like a dark blue, and we'll just draw around this front part again because I think that's really cool. And then I might look up some references for fish tails just so I can get it's okay to use references and things to get better ideas and a better understanding of how anatomy works and how things might flow. I'm actually going to duplicate this layer, and then I'm going to flip them around, and again, and I'm just going to put that there for now. And a good thing about fresco is you can push this and then you can use the rubber. You can actually like double tap it and it'll stay that way, but I only needed it for a second, so we're good. Alright, so let's just say this comes around like that, and I had drawn some little nose parts, and then this came down and this came down to reveal this really long, I guess, weird tongue shape. Maybe quite a cool patterned tongue, where it's almost got like cool stripes and things on it. It's quite cool. And maybe it comes around more like that. And then his leg, I think we need to move it back a little bit more so it's attached here instead, because that's kind of where his eye sits. And then if it came down like this instead, and we had a little bit there and then came down like this, yeah, I think it could even come down a little, whoa, it could even come down a little further. And then this one would be the same, and it's got a little bloop and then comes down. So maybe these are like for, he's got his tongue, right? And maybe he like, you know, gets like, stabs his food and then puts it on his sticky tongue. I think that'd be cool if he's like underwater. I guess he doesn't have to be underwater. He could just be like a creature that has a cool fish tail. So this antenna is so cool. Ebony's weird signature. I feel like my signature's too, it just looks like my name, like it's not cool. And then when I got married, it was really challenging to do a new signature, and I have to practice. I still haven't got the hang of it yet. Right, let's turn that off. And just have a look at what we're working with. I feel like that should come around a little bit more. Crazy. Now I guess there would be another leg here, coming down like that, kind of in line with that one. And you might see the knobbly bit over here. Right, I think we should look up some references for fish tails. Okay, so I found this really cool fish picture. I found quite a few of them, but this was my favorite. It looks like a drawing. I found it on Google, and I think the tail is really cool. So I'm gonna use that as the inspiration to draw something similar. So looking at the tail, I feel like we can have like lots of different really beautiful floaty elements to it. Kind of comes around like that. And I do like how these parts that sort of flow in and out. And you know, I always like to use references, either like if I look at some stuff beforehand, like if you've watched a lot of my videos, you'll know that I do like to look at a lot of bugs. I don't like to look at them because bugs are so scary, but it's good to look at them to sort of understand how things work and how things are put together, and I think that's really fun. So it could even have like another part that's coming off as well, more like that. So it's all just kind of flowing into this like majestic tail. And maybe this is like, maybe it like lights up and attracts bugs and things for this creature to eat. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Coming down like that. And could even have some gills and things, like maybe this one's gills sit here. And we could add some scales like that. And maybe the spikes have a little bit of that as well. Like the tail, a little bit of kind of like the fish does. That's pretty cool. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to delete the fish yet because I think it's cool to have it there as a reference. But we'll merge all these together and then we will change the opacity just so we can redraw it again to get a better feel for how it's going to look. I'm going to change my pen to this one, which is what I normally do my final outline in. And it's good to get a feel for how it's going to look with that pen, because that pen, you know, it's not as sketchy, and so it always will look different. Now this tongue, I kind of didn't even realize when I was doing the tongue, but it kind of looks like the tail, like happy accidents always happen to me. It's really good. I feel like it should come further in and then come out, maybe more like that. And then this mouth can come around a bit more. Maybe he's got like a, oh no, don't like that. And then he's got maybe his gills just here. That could be cool. Comes back around like this instead. Always gonna make sound effects when you draw. It helps. Trust me. I am sort of a professional. And then, yeah, actually I think that could be cool. Sort of coming around and under. I like it. Alright, now, not too sure about this eye here. I feel like it needs to sort of come out a bit more like that. And then this one. Yeah, I like that. You can almost have like weird little whiskey things coming off as well. Maybe his nose needs to come up a bit further. This part I'm never going to change. I think it's so cool. Do you know why? I think it looks like a piece of coral. And that's really cool. And then we've got the signature spikes here, which come down into like nothing. And then we've got this body coming up like this. I feel like it's quite a thin body, but the fishtail just takes it over. And I guess if you were trying to defend yourself from, you know, other creatures, like making yourself look really big and beautiful, would, I guess, help you with that, to scare predators away. That's really cool. And then this can come around, and these parts would just start to flow into this to create this really cool tail effect. And then you've got this part, and that could even come down and around like this. And then this one, and that comes out like that. And that's when you sort of start to take it more in like that. And then we've got this one. I feel like that's coming up and then going out. Do you think, I was thinking maybe they're like more like claws, like this instead. So if this, I'll put that eye in the way. If this comes down and it's got its little knobbly bit, and then it comes down like this, and then almost like he's wearing like high heels, and it's like a big claw like that. I think that's really cool. It does look like he's wearing shoes. And then this one. That's pretty cool. And we talked about, I don't know, do you think the spikes might get lost if I add lots of parts to them? So I feel like that needs to come over like that, and that's a part of his body there. Somehow maybe that comes out and around. We'll rub this part out so we can see. Oh, that's the tail. Yeah, it's a bit better. And then something like that. And he's got his little scaly bits. We'll turn this layer off. Cool. Very exciting. Well, I am quite happy with that as a sketch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the nice proper outline and color it in and get it all ready. And I will speed that up for you so you don't have to watch me do that, because that takes a long time. I hope you are enjoying the video so far. I just wanted to stop for a second and say thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to support me even more, you can join my Patreon, where you can get colouring in sheets that you can download and colour in as many times as you want. I really love seeing what the progress is and how other people colour them in. Some people have coloured them in really dark, morbid colors, and it changes the whole vibe of the monster. It's really cool. So if you want to do that, that would be awesome. And yeah, just have a look at it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll let you get back to it. All right, team, there you have it. This weird and wonderful creation. Thanks again, Ebony, for your cool little scribble. It was actually really challenging. I don't think I've ever drawn a monster like this before. It's very, very unique, but I think the fishtail is just really cool. It just adds something a little bit extra. And then I ended up adding these weird little fly bugs to it as well. So we'll see what my husband Matt comes up with in terms of a story, and I'll post it down below. I'm trying to get him on camera so we can film him reacting to one of these creatures, because often his reactions are really funny. So watch this space, and I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks team. Bye.